Welcome to Voice Notes from a Slow Life. I'm Emily, and I'm glad you're here. These are real time reflections on slowing down, mothering gently, and choosing a more intentional life. Let's begin. Today, I wanted to talk about something that is really important to me, and that is having people in your corner, having support systems. It's so fucking important, especially for mothers, but really for everyone. When I was training, anybody who trains in mental health, especially because I trained to be a therapist, we learn a lot about well-being in factors that can help well-being. So, we talk about sleep, we talk about nutrition, we talk about a lot of different things. And these are things that we assess in a intake session, for instance. And one thing that is a really good predictor of well-being and something that we assess is social supports, because social supports are very important. Humans are very how do you say, like, we are social beings. We always have been. We don't live in a society that's very social anymore, sadly. And that's why I think there's a large amount of anxiety and depression in the world, because we've lost connection with each other. But social supports, having friends, family, people that you can rely on and talk to, is important. And when we work together, let's say for therapy, one of the things that is always really important to work on with clients is ensuring that either they have social supports, or that we work on building those support systems. And it can be very difficult, right? So maybe you don't have a great relationship with your parents. Maybe um, you don't have brothers or sisters or people in your immediate family that you can talk to. And for adults, it can be, I wouldn't say even more difficult, but difficult in a different way. So when you are in school, you often are able to make bonds with other people just by virtue of seeing them on a daily basis, right? So that proximity piece of, like, you see them, you do activities at the school, maybe you see them after school, but at least at school, you have those supports. Maybe you text them. I almost said MSN. I'm dating myself. Not MSN. You don't WhatsApp or Insta or whatever. You can connect with them. Back in my day, we had like MSN or stuff like that. Um, but you had people you could talk to. When you become an adult, it becomes more difficult. It can happen with people that you work with. So I've often built friendships with the women specifically that I worked with. And that's, again, it's like a trapped audience of proximity, right? Where I see them every day. We build a deep relationship. Maybe we have shared difficulties, and that creates the bond. Now, the difficulty happens sometimes when maybe you're working somewhere and your work wife, quote unquote, or your work friend leaves, and maybe you don't have other people in the workplace that you feel close with. That is also a possibility. Or for me, for instance, I do not work in a workplace anymore. I am self-employed, which means that I am all alone in my office, in my home. I have my husband, I have my dog, I have my daughter. Those are not the types of support. Like, a husband's a great support, but especially for moms and women, sometimes it's we need other women, other moms as our support system, because we truly understand each other's experiences. So I found in my work with moms that that is a very important piece, is having those very strong supports with other women. And it's difficult. Um, Having friendships in adulthood takes a lot of work, because it's not like in school where you're seeing them every day because you're going to class together. In adulthood, you have to plan when to see each other. You have to make efforts to do so. Maybe you have nights of the week that you're planning to see each other. Weekends, you go to do things together. It's a lot more work. And so like the joke that you see online often is that, oh, our calendars are never matching up and we'll never see each other, and we'll say I'll see you again, and like 6 months later maybe we'll see each other again. And that's difficult. I have some friends that I've made while I was working for a company that is kind of the situation that comes up. They live further away and I don't see them often. And I think for much of my 20s, and yeah, for much of my 20s, that was that was my story. So either I had friends from work, but not often outside of work. I was very isolated. Later on, when I became a mom, I discovered how much more isolating it can be and the detriment to that. So, of course, it's very detrimental to be isolated in general, but being a mom and isolated, it has this other flavor to it because not only are you alone, but you're alone with your own fears and self-judgment, and it's hard to imagine that other people are going through the same things as you, because if you don't talk to people, you don't know what other people are going through. So you kind of compare yourself to social media and think that everybody else has it figured out and you don't. And so one of my goals when I, embarked on slow living and slow motherhood was to ensure that I had good supports. This was especially true when I stopped working at the agency and I started working by myself, because I know about myself that I'm a very social person. Like, I'm a social creature. If you've met me in the wild, I will talk your ear off. I just love people. I just love talking to people. And I knew that if I didn't continue to explore myself, and have like moments with other people, I know my mental health would take a hit. So I worked really hard at it. I joined business sisters and went to events to connect with other women in business. I have worked on strengthening my relationships with my friends. I try and make sure I see a friend every week. And that involves not only seeing them that week, but checking in on them in between. I've even made new friends, new mom friends, because yeah, I just know that that's what I need. And now I have a good circle, a really good circle, who are very there for me. They support me. They are my cheerleaders. I am their cheerleaders. I support them. And it is essential to me in my life and in my slow motherhood journey. And with the women I support, whether in therapy or mentorship, when they connect with other moms, they experience the same thing. And I find that when we do create our support systems, we are able to express ourselves and our fears and our worries with others without, um, judgment or reprimand. And it leads to much more self compassion. Because oftentimes when we are with other moms and they share their own difficulties, they often mirror our own difficulties. And we show that person love and understanding and empathy and compassion. And so it's only natural that if we are giving them all those things for similar issues that we are dealing with, then that we also return the favor towards us, towards ourselves. And and we also, we provide it and they provide it back to us. I have been blown away at the lengths that women will take to support one another. I have previously worked a lot in staffing and business, and it's been very male dominated um, environments, networking. And this has been my first experience really doing like business sisters and really being surrounded by mostly women. And oh my God, man, like the the support is wild. Like we just want to see everybody succeed. We want to be everybody's cheerleader. It's amazing. Um, and yet we're not benefiting from it enough. There's so much more connection we can have. And so this episode is really to encourage you to find those connections, build them, nourish them. They are important for you and for others. And will it take a bit of time? Will it take a bit of effort? Will it take a bit of uncomfortability? Yes. Like over the summer, I was at the park with my husband and my daughter, and I met a woman and her husband and her two children, and we were talking, and she's an educator, and we were talking and talking, and I was like, oh, this person's really really cool, and then I was like, we should like be friends. I was just putting myself out there. I was like so worried. We should just like be friends. And our first like friend date, quote unquote, like to see if we were okay, was at the local restaurant for like tea. And it was like a bit awkward. We were both kind of nervous. It was like almost like a first date, honestly. And that friend is Natasha, who has been on the podcast a few times, who is now also a mentorship client, who has built an amazing business supporting parents so they can support their children. And she was literally here yesterday helping me build benches for my kitchen. Okay. We're eating popcorn. She was building benches. I was glazing our clay crafts that we made the other day. Like, and we met randomly at a park. And could we have just split ways? Yeah, that's a very big possibility. I had to put myself out there and be like, hey, I want to be your friend. That is a very vulnerable position to put yourself in. Um, but it was worth it. And I know Natasha's listening, so hi, Natasha, love you. Um, and will every time work? No. Sometimes you'll try and be someone's friend. You're like, it doesn't fit. That's cool too. But you have to try. You need to put yourself out there because I know that the benefits far outweigh the risk, and the risk is only that they don't become your friend. You know. So I encourage you, contact other people. Reach out, go to events, go to the park, talk to people. Um, school drop-offs. And even like I would love for the community of moms that like, follow my stuff about slow motherhood, talk to each other, like go in the comments, like say, hey, I'm from this area. Don't give your address on social media, please. But if you're like, oh, I'm from Ottawa, or I'm trying to think where my viewership mostly is. I know a lot of you are Canadian. I have Canadian, US, and I think I have a lot of Australia. And so I'd be like, I'm from this area, I'm from that area. Like, that would be fucking cool. And if ever anybody meets each other through my content and my stuff that I'm posting, let me know, because that would just be like amazing. So anyway, go make a friend. Go and, tell everybody, because friendship with women is so different. It's not like kind of sounds like it's not like an acquaintance. It's like the first meeting. Often we talk about our birth trauma, for instance. Like we're like, oh yeah, you have this. Oh yeah, I peed myself yesterday from laughing. I forgot to cross my legs. Like we go deep real quick, but it's so rewarding. So anyway, go get your supports. I love it. Um, I'll end that here. So thank you for listening. If this episode spoke to you, it would mean so much to me if you would follow, leave a review, or share it with someone who might need it. Until next time, keep living your authentic life. Bye.